That's great. So we have the public ID. We got, what else we have here? So we have the URL and we have the secure URL. So this is the one we're going to use because this one has the HTTPS. So we can use it to display the image. So this URL is all we need. Okay, now using that URL, you can access the image. You can see here, beautiful. All right, so that's great. Let's give a refresh, see how that worked. And you can see we have two images because the first one was also successful. The only reason we didn't get the result is because we forgot to use await. Okay. So you can edit, delete as well from here. Awesome. So that's great. Now next thing we can do is find this user from the database based on this ID that we have and save this image as a profile image for that user. Okay, so for that, make sure you have the image in your user model. User model should have the image with the public ID and URL fields. All right, so once you have that, you can save this image for that user. So let's quickly do that as well. So const user equals to await user model, use find by ID and update function. Now this function takes a couple of arguments. The first one is the ID, based on which ID you want to find the user, and in our case that is request user dot underscore ID. So that's the first argument. That's the first argument. Second argument is what do you want to update? So in our case we want to update the image, right? So image, and that should have the object with the value of URL and public ID. Now that one, we get that in the result. Now that is something you can pick the URL, secure URL. Okay, let's do that. What I wanted to show you is that if we had named it secure URL, then in that case we could just save the image like result like this, and then only these two fields would be saved, everything else would be ignored because they're not part of our model. But let's do it manually. It's all right. Public ID equals to result dot public underscore ID. All right, and then URL is going to be result dot secure URL. Okay, so let me double check public ID and secure URL. Secure URL and public ID. Perfect. Okay, so that's what we need to save. That's what we're going to update. So find the user based on the ID, update the image with this value. That's the second argument. And then third argument is this updated information we want to send to our client, right? So what you can do is you can pass after this one. So after this one here, the third argument is new true. So if you use new true, this updated information we will get immediately here so that we can send to our client, right? So send response so we can return response JSON. Now we can't send all the we should be sending the whole user information because user will have the what do you call it, the the password as well, right? That's not something you want, and you don't want to, you want to just give the name, email, role, image. Okay, so let's do that. Name user dot name, email user dot email. So a row, user dot row, and then image, user dot image. So image is quite important because all this information is already there except the image. Now once the image upload is done, we're sending all this information so that we can update the context here for the user. Okay, so that's great. Now let's try one more time, and this time we should see the data console logged in the client. Let me quickly go to the client, screens, account. Okay, so on successful upload, we should get the data in the console. Let's have a look at that, and then we will be saving in the context. Let me go to here and let's try. All right, and it takes a second or so, and then you can see here we have got the successful response of the user. Now this time this user has not only name, role and email, but also image. How good is that? Now this information we want to update in the context and also in the async stories.